We're going to start with a choice cut ribeye, 1.5 to 2 inches thick. So it's important to start with a good cut of meat. A thick slice works better on the grill or even any way of cooking because you can get a good sear on the outside and not overcook it on the inside. All right, there's another look at that beautiful piece of meat. Here we go. Now here's the ingredients we'll be using. All you need is good olive oil. I use a California olive oil. There were some issues with some of the oils coming out of Italy. And here's my secret ingredient, Montreal steak seasoning. I know a lot of people just use salt and pepper, but I find this gives you a little richer flavor. All right, so now we're just going to baste the outside of this steak with olive oil all around every side of it. So like I said, we'll turn that over and make sure we get a good coating of olive oil all the way around the steak on the edges as well before we start to apply our seasoning. Okay, continuing on with that, and we'll get just a little bit more on there just to do the edges of the steak. You want to make sure you coat it all the way around. This helps get you a nice crust when you put it on the grill for the sear. All right, once we're done with that, we'll start with our magic ingredient, my magic ingredient, Montreal steak seasoning. And once again, I find this blend of seasonings to really enhance the flavor of a steak. Here we go. We'll add this, as I said, a good coating of this, depending on your desire for the intensity of the flavor. I give it a pretty good coating all over. Once again, also both sides. There we go. And we'll also apply this on the edges because you don't forget you want some flavor there as well, and that's always a little bit harder area to get on the steak. So we're going to flip the steak over on its side, on its edge, and then get that edge, and then we'll do the same on the other edge as well. And that way we've got a good flavor profile all the way around. Every bite you take will be delicious. Good morning once again, guys, and what do we got going on today? This is Cooking with Lightning Tommy. This beautiful ribeye steak, that's close to 2 inches, guys, and that's really important. It's hard to get a good sear without overcooking the steak, so get yourself a good quality 1.5 to 2 inch steak, and it's going to turn out beautiful. Now watch and see how it's done. Okay, now we'll move out to the grill, and it's really important to heat that grill up as much as you can. I turn on all my burners, and I can, if I'm patient and wait, I can get it up to 600 degrees plus, actually. So we wanted to get it as hot as we possibly can. Then here goes that beautiful cut of meat on the grill. Wow, man, that's going to be good. Close her up, and depending on the thickness of the steak, I let that sit there for 3 or 4 minutes, and then that's going to end up giving me a medium rare steak. So halfway through that 3 or 4 minutes, I'll check it, and it's got a pretty good little sear. I'll turn it diagonally so I can get that cross-hatch grill mark design that everybody loves on the steak. Okay, and now here we go at the end of the 4 minutes, 5 minutes, possibly at the most, depending on this steak. You have to keep an eye on it. I'll turn it over, and you're getting ready to see how beautiful this looks. Now check this out. Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, that's what we're looking for. Okay, so that's ready on that side. Now we're going to cook the other side. We'll put it back on that same spot on the grill. You know your grill where the heat is the most consistent. And we'll start a couple, 3 minutes on that side. All right, now we'll close it up and let that go for 2 or 3 minutes before we check it, and then turn it over. Now here we go. I have moved it to a hotter part of the grill at this point, just to get a little extra sear on there. So you're going to see some flame action here. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't overdo it. And there we go. Look at that. I'm just going to give it just a little bit more on that second side. Wow, look at that. That's fire. That's fire, baby. We love to cook with fire. And that's just about ready to come off. I'm going to get that off here in just a second. Oh, man, look at that. Woo! All right, that's it. It's ready. So we're going to put it back on the plate. We're going to take that inside and let it rest for at least 5 minutes. Okay, so that's really important. This steak is still cooking. It's just come off that very hot grill. So what you want to do is let it rest and relax, and all the juices flow inside there. So what I'm going to do is I'll cover it up loosely with some foil over the top of it, and that'll kind of help it just rest. I don't wrap it too tightly, just loosely like that, and let it rest for at least 5 minutes. And there's nothing wrong with letting it go a little bit longer. Now, one thing you can do, and if you're going to do this, it'd be better to do it as soon as you bring it off the grill. Add some butter. You could add some garlic butter, regular butter. Here I'm just putting on some regular butter. And the steak's still warm enough, it's going to melt that butter. I'll move it around a little bit just to make sure it gets a nice coating. That'll add some extra flavor to your steak. And like I said, if you're going to do this, it'd probably be best to do it as soon as you bring the steak off the grill. That way it'll really melt that butter, more easily. I waited just a little bit on this one, and then decided I wanted to show you this step. So I'll move it around a little bit, make sure it melts in properly, and then recover it with the foil to let it finish resting. Okay, so very important, let the steak rest. Don't cut it right away as soon as you get it off the grill. Okay, so we'll, just a second here, we'll cover that back up and let it finish its resting. Okay, now it's rested. I think I rested it for a full 6 minutes. And now we're gonna cut that baby open, not literally, cut that beautiful steak open and check it out and see how we've done. Now, a lot of people use a meat thermometer. That's perfectly okay. You want to make sure you've got it cooked done this for you, for your taste. I know pretty much this is going to produce a medium rare steak, which is what I was going for. You might want yours a little more well cooked. You could just leave it on the grill, a little bit longer on each side. And for those of you that like it more rare, just don't cook it as long on each side. But what I was going for was medium rare, and my goodness, it looks like that's how it has turned out. Boy, oh boy, does that look juicy and delicious. Wow. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. We'll just show you how beautiful that looks. I'll just rearrange it here in a second and show you those slices. And you can see the nice sear on the outside of the steak, penetrating in just far enough to cook it to a perfect medium rare. And for steak, for me, that's the best way to cook it. You get the most flavor out of it. It's the most tender. Not to cook it too much, but you cook it however you like it and make yourself happy. And but I'm telling you, it's a very simple method. If you follow this method, you'll produce a delicious steak. But it's very important to have the grill very, very hot, and also to have that steak at room temperature. Now here you go, guys. Here's the finished product, and how good does that look? Wow, I'm getting hungry just watching this. I might have to cook another steak today. Wow, man, that looks good. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time on Lightning Tommy.